Tomboy, written by Suzana Thompson, narrated by Sarah Sampino. Chapter 13. How about Texas? I asked with false enthusiasm. That was the first place we went in Mom's car. Jake was silent for a moment as he watched the road. I remember. I wondered if he was just saying that. You do? Yes, Cam. I remember all of it. All our special times together. Connor wasn't the only reason I spent so much time at your house. He pulled up to a stoplight and glanced at me. So we were really going to get into this. We had to drive 2 hours to get home, and there was no way to avoid an uncomfortable conversation about us. I remember those times too, Jake. I always thought of you as Connor's friend, but I've realized that you were my friend too. Why don't you come over anymore? Do you miss me? His blue eyes were on me again, and then focused on the road. I had already admitted it to myself, and now I told him the truth. Yes, Jake, I do. I miss you so much that I even went to one of your games just so I could see you. I saw you there, he said. It didn't put me in a good mood. I was hurt by his statement. I didn't know my presence was that intolerable to you. I'm surprised you agreed to drive me home if that's how you feel. You know that I would do anything for you, Cam. He spoke the truth. I remember when he was in my class in elementary school. The PTA sponsored an ice cream party for us, and every kid got a little cup of ice cream. I loved ice cream and wished that we could have gotten more. Jake gave me his, even though he liked ice cream too. There were many instances like this throughout my childhood, the most significant one being the one when he took the blame for me breaking the window. Just last year, I'd been upset about not having enough money to go to a professional skateboarding competition that I wanted to watch. The next day, I found money on my desk. It was exactly how much I'd been short for the ticket. I knew it was from Jake, but he claimed not to know anything about it. After I saved up enough money to pay him back, he refused to take it and still wouldn't admit that he had been the one to leave it for me. I'm still trying to get over you, he said. I just need some distance for that. Do you understand? I didn't understand, because being apart from him was just making me miss him more. Can't we still be friends? I don't know, Jake said, making my heart sink. I don't know if I can go back to being just friends after kissing you. I tried to make light of it. Kyle kissed me and he's still my friend. Jake didn't crack a smile. That's not the same. Because you love me? My heart was hammering in my chest as I dared to call him on this. I had my head turned to look out my window, and I didn't look at him as the silence stretched between us. Yes, Cam, he confirmed. Because I love you. I still didn't have the courage to look at him, so I continued to stare out the window until he pulled onto the highway. I knew that he was waiting for me to respond to that, but I felt frozen in some strange kind of limbo. Eventually, I began to talk about everything that had been going on in my life while we had been apart. I told him about Kyle, about Jason asking me out, and even about everything that Mom had said to me about relationships. Cam, Jake said as I wound down my nervous chatter. I'm sorry. My gaze finally met his straight on before he returned his attention to the road. About what? About what you caught me doing in your room. I don't even know why I did that, especially after what happened the first time. I couldn't believe that she still wanted to after that. You asked me how many times I used your bed. It was twice. You were at a soccer game the first time. He had barely taken a breath as he confessed all that. I took a moment to grasp everything he had said. What happened the first time? Maybe we shouldn't get into that. He sounded even more uneasy about it now. You can't say something like that and leave me hanging, I protested. It'll drive me crazy wondering about it. Just remember that I'm driving. We could get into an accident if you punch me. You punch somebody one time and people think you make a habit out of it, I grumbled. I called out your name. He glanced at me and saw my blank look. During sex, Cam. I called out your name while I was with her. I tried to control the emotional whirlwind that was suddenly spinning through my heart and mind. I was thinking about you when Dylan kissed me. You were? It was the first smile I had seen on his face in a long time. Yeah, it was better with you. Since I was completely overwhelmed by all these revelations, I desperately changed the subject. How's your family? Just like old times, he told me fun stories about the loving chaos that was his family. It made me want to meet them and spend some time at his house for a change. That was unlikely to ever happen now, I thought sadly. He didn't want to be my friend anymore, and he would probably go back to avoiding me after we got home. After a while, we ran out of neutral things to talk about, and Jake turned on the radio. We were both lost in our own thoughts until he pulled off the highway. Do you want me to take you somewhere to eat? Things were just too awkward between us now for me to have any appetite to eat dinner with him. No thanks. I'm not hungry. We were quiet again until he pulled into my driveway. Then we kind of just stared at each other. Where are we going, Cam? This time I didn't pretend to misunderstand his meaning. I don't know, Jake. Will you give me some time to think about it? Okay, but I can't be here while you decide. You come to me when you're ready. Just don't leave me hanging, Cam. Let me know one way or the other, whatever your final decision is. I will, I promised. It was the same promise I made to Jason, but this time I knew that my heart was involved in the outcome.